Hello there, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube, the internet, and the like, and welcome back to Team Fortress 2. Today, I'm going to be playing as a completely stock a completely stock scout on CP Gravel Pit. No fancy hats, no unusuals, none of that stuff. I don't really have any unusuals, but I figured it was worth mentioning because unusuals are a thing in this game. Nope, it's just me, a scattergun, a pistol, and a baseball bat. I would like to call to attention this really laggy teleporting spy. You have no idea how terrifying it is to fight a teleporting class. You do not have any idea what on earth they're going to do to you if they get close to you and stab you right in the back, because that would be a bit of a problem. That would hinder your progress, and you'd have to sit and respawn and think about how you did not manage to kill that class who was teleporting all across the map. But just playing as completely stock scout, it wasn't really my decision, nor was it anybody's decision to play completely stock today. There are a couple people you can see that actually do possess hats and know a thing or two about this game, but some of us are completely hatless and our self-esteem is lowered right past rock bottom due to the fact that the loadouts happen to break around this time of the day. Not real sure how that happens, but I'll take the loadouts breaking over the servers giving everyone ridiculously insane ping, such as like up in the 200s and the 300s. Don't really know why Valve servers do that, but hey, loadouts are breaking, no problem, at least the game is still playable for that matter. And talking a bit about stock Team Fortress, how a lot of us sort of had these broken loadouts, we had to work with what we had. It gives you an interesting insight on what TF2 was originally like, and I can appreciate what TF2 was like back then, because you at least have different balancing options that don't make spies have second chances at life, and pyros don't have ridiculously fast weapon switch, and they can't crit combo you with flare guns. For the most part, it's just you and your wits in this rather simplistic style of play. I think a lot of people envisioned when they first started playing TF2, in more recent days, I guess I could say, a lot of people envisioned that this is what TF2 was like. You start off completely stock, and eventually you work your way up. And I'm not saying that's not how TF2 plays, but I think TF2 is a lot more difficult to get into nowadays if you're a new person at the game, considering the fact that there's just so much new stuff that was added since 2007, and given the fact that how much things have just drastically changed, getting someone to play TF2 and know what to do can be somewhat challenging. I'd like to break off this tangent right here to talk about the sniper, how he somehow managed to land that headshot, and it was really surprising to me. I don't really know how he managed to do that. I'm just gonna leave it at that. So we're gonna continue on with this gameplay and talk a bit more about stock TF2. There are a few subtle differences. One, the fact that a lot of the bugs on certain maps and classes are no longer broken, and as such they aren't really referred to as bugs anymore, and also pyros can air blast. That is one sort of a nice feature that would have been a pretty good asset to stock TF2 a long time ago, which I'm sure technically was when the pyro update, or I think it might have been the pyro update when it first came along. That was always nice when that first came, but I wasn't around back then. I started playing TF2 late 2011, and getting into the game was definitely fun, but having had the experience, I sort of kind of question how people could still get into the game and not have a general sense of how all the mechanics work. But hey, it's something that comes with time and practice, and I guess that's kind of what makes it a fun learning experience for a lot of people, because even if you get that new weapon, you read the stats, you know to yourself, yeah, this is probably not the best alternative because it's a side grade, but you don't care. You use it anyway. You first unlock the Force of Nature. I know that was pretty much the first weapon I ever unlocked when I first started playing TF2. You could bet your hands, you could bet your arse, that I put my hands on that Force of Nature, and I never stopped using it for a while, because it was a new and challenging experience for me to use a gun that I'd never seen before. It was much different than this, oh, this is a crappy old scattergun. I think I want to use something different. And having unlocked the Force of Nature, that was kind of a fun learning experience for me. So I guess I can sort of see the viewpoint of how some people would get into TF2 nowadays. Although, I just kind of wish that sometimes there were servers out there that just allowed you to play completely stock. And that all being said, I think we could sort of move on from the topic of that, and then talk a bit about why I'm using the pistol. I mean, sure, I'm sort of forced to use the pistol at this rate, but the pistol has never really been my favorite weapon to use to begin with. I'm not really a huge fan of the spread. Granted, it's not as bad a spread as the SMG is for the sniper, but I definitely have a beef with it. And that's mostly because it doesn't allow me to use weapons that are good for like tracking down spies or being able to extinguish fires, also known as the Mad Milk for anyone who doesn't know what I'm talking about. That's usually the weapon that I use in my secondary slot. When it boils down to using a pistol, it just becomes a whole new world for me because it's really situational. You could argue that there are some classes that you're better off fighting when using a pistol, such as a pyro. You definitely don't want to get into mid-range when you're fighting against a very aware and elite pyro. When it comes to using a pistol, I find it's best used for that, and also for fighting engineer buildings, because at least fighting against engineer buildings, you have consecutive damage. And with a pistol, at least you have the assurance of being able to take out a mini-sentry at a long distance without having to worry about being pelted with a lot of bullets at a time, and just the crazy accuracy of the mini-sentry when you're trying to take it out with a scattergun. Again, at least most weapons against sentry guns have consecutive damage, unlike against players at a distance which you're trying to fight, because there will be damage fall off. But the pistol definitely does have its strengths and weaknesses. Definitely not my favorite pick of the day, but it's still a viable weapon, and I don't think I could argue against that at all. To finish off this topic about playing completely stock, I really would like to know if there are any servers out there that do have this plugin that forces you to play without loadouts, and just having a completely stock loadout, basically. If there's anything like that out there, if anyone could just please tell me, that'd be great, because I know I've done a search for that before, but I don't think I ever turned anything up. If such a plugin even exists, I would just really love to see that implemented on a server, because it would be a really good experience to see how TF2 originally played for just about everyone, and in general, it would be nice. I would have a good time with it, and it would be open to good experiments of how other classes play. Like, again, going back to how the Pyro now has Air Blast, and back then, all you had was mouse 1, and you had to ambush people. It was a little bit of a different strategy back then, but being able to see how things would work now, I would definitely be all up for that, and I would love to make more future videos where I just play completely stock. I would eventually run out of content, sure, but as something for once in a time or another, like maybe next time I could play as a soldier, a completely stock soldier. I know that's actually a fairly decent loadout because you got a shotgun, and a shotgun is always a pretty good asset to just about any class. But yeah, we'll see in the future, and this gameplay is actually going to wrap up very shortly. I'm just choking on the fact that I can never seem to kill medics that are firing at me with needles, especially the Blutsauger. I don't know what it is about them, but they always seem so much more difficult to hit when they're trying to kill you, which makes sense, but I always imagined that most medics would try to run after you with infinite bonesaw crits, because that tends to happen quite a lot, but I don't know, just something about the needles feels really shameful to get killed by, so maybe that's why I backed off during the time. One good thing about playing Scout is that you don't always have to go after kills. You can always run away from a fight if it seems too vicious, and I think this would have been a great example. Had that Pyro not taken that health kit, I probably could have killed him, and thus ends what I think may have come close to my 22 kill streak as a scout. I think my highest kill streak is 22, and I believe that was 20 kills in one life. And here you can see this scout actually has a loadout, so that means the loadouts have returned, and thus that marks the end of the gameplay. So, thank you guys very much for watching. Have a great day or evening, and I guess I will see you in the next video.
Damn it. Victor. Oh, wow.